Today on Inquirer, volcanic activity in Mayon continues. Phivolcs gives update on the situation there live. DNA samples of 4 accused in the Degamo slay case match with samples found in the crime scene. Senate Minority Leader Pimentel calls for an NLEx toll hike freeze. And Denver Nuggets capture first ever NBA championship. Today on Inquirer.
Good evening. Residents and local government units in Albay prepare for the worst as volcanic activity continues in Mayon. Joining us tonight to discuss this is Maria Antonia V. Bornas, Chief Science Research Specialist of the Volcano Monitoring and Eruption Prediction Division in Phivolcs. Ma'am, good evening.
Good evening.
Ma'am, how would you describe the activities at Mayon Volcano in the last 24 hours or so?
So currently Mayon is very quietly erupting or effusing lava flow from its summit crater, and the lava flows are being transported to the south and southeast sector of the volcano. Currently, the lava flows are 1 kilometer away, have reached a kilometer distance from the crater. So in the past few hours, after 5 o'clock this morning, we have recorded 104 rockfall events and 2 pyroclastic density current events. These are the primary volcanic hazards in Mayon Volcano. The locals call this uson. These are essentially mixtures of hot volcanic ash and volcanic gas and rocks that travel down the slopes of the volcano and burn everything in their path. So in total, since June 1, when the volcano entered unrest, we have recorded a total of 1,339 rockfall events, 13 pyroclastic density current events, and today we have only recorded 3 low-frequency volcanic earthquakes. These are very weak volcanic earthquakes. So, and when it comes to the sulfur degassing of the volcano, sulfur dioxide is a very important parameter for magma in Mayon, because when sulfur is degassed, this means that shallow magma is in the volcano. Yesterday, our measurement averaged 732 tons per day, and today it's barely 149 tons per day. So these are
Ma'am, so would you say that the situation in Mayon rather is getting better or getting worse by the day?
No, it's too early to say that. We need to really look at this day to day. It's not getting any better just because the sulfur dioxide has given off a low value this morning. You know, this emission can change overnight. We still have lava coming out of the summit crater because we still have rockfall, and rockfall activity is driven by the by the flow of lava. So the lava flow is collapsing while it is traveling. We also have pyroclastic density currents, and these are actually driven as well when lava that is moving is collapsing. So we still have lava that is coming out of the crater of Mayon and pushing down all of this material downslope.
Ma'am, in simpler terms, what are the parameters that Phivolcs is observing in order to identify what alert level a volcano should be placed under?
Okay. Typically, we have what we call the baseline parameters. So we have the typical value or the rate that that the volcano emits sulfur dioxide. We have a typical number of earthquakes per day when it's the typical ground deformation parameters of the volcano when it is at rest. When any of these parameters increase beyond the background, we raise the alert level. But if many of these parameters are abnormal, then we raise the alert levels further. But in terms of Mayon's activity now, this does not apply. So most of the parameters are in background levels, but the volcano is already erupting. So this is new behavior that we are seeing from Mayon. We have experienced eruptions where the seismicity or the volcanic earthquake activity is low, but the sulfur dioxide emission is always high. But this is the first time that we are recording or monitoring an eruption from Mayon where the sulfur dioxide emission is very low. In fact, this is in background levels.
So what you're saying, ma'am, is the behavior of Mayon currently is different from what it exhibited back in, please correct me if I'm wrong, if I remember it correctly, in 2018, right?
Yes, sir. So from what it's doing at the surface, how it's behaving, is the same as many past eruptions. The way it's behaving, it's only from the monitoring data point of view that is acting differently. The sulfur dioxide emission is quite low. So we are very much uneasy with what's happening right now, even though it feels calm. So we need to watch how this will develop, because again, this is behavior that we are not quite familiar yet with Mayon in terms of the monitoring parameters.
Ma'am, you briefly touched on this earlier, but in the case of Mayon, are we seeing signs of upgrading or possibly downgrading the alert level 3 we have in place as we speak?
So right now, we have no reason to escalate or downgrade. So we will only escalate the alert status if any of the monitored parameters show significant increases. And we will only downgrade the current status if the status quo is maintained, but lava stops coming out of the crater. And then we need to observe maybe for a couple of weeks before we can reasonably or maybe confidently downgrade the alert level.
Ma'am, I'm sure you would agree with me when I say that information is very important right now and being informed is very important right now. So in the event that Mayon Volcano is placed under alert level 4, what does it mean? What can the residents expect and what should the government do?
Okay, alert level 4 means that there is an escalation of activity. The rate at which material is coming out of the volcano increases, and it's possible that even the volcanic gas increases. So if volcanic gas emission also increases, the potential for explosive activity increases because it's volcanic gas that lends explosivity in any eruption. So if alert level 4 is raised, it means that the lava flow might increase, the rate at which it's getting spewed out of the volcano. We might see lava fountaining events, and then we might see occasional explosive events. And if that happens, we might get the dangerous pyroclastic density currents within the 6-kilometer permanent danger zone. So as a precaution, we will need to add additional areas for evacuation. That would be mainly on the southern and southeast portion of the volcano where the crater is facing, where the crater is breached right now, because that will make sure, that will sort of focus all of that volcanic hazard onto the southern and southeastern slopes of the volcano.
Ma'am, I was able to watch an interview with Phivolcs Director Teresito Bacolcol earlier this morning. He mentioned there that the Mayon unrest may continue for months. Why is this the case?
Okay, there have been instances of past eruptions similar to this, where the volcano is quietly effusing lava, and this activity lasted for months. Okay, so we might get that kind of activity. For example, in 2006, where we had 4 months of lava flow effusion, and the lavas actually breached the 6 kilometer permanent danger zone. It ended up being 6.4 kilometers long. So this kind of activity might extend.
Thank you so much for your time, ma'am. That's Maria Antonia V. Bornas, Chief Science Research Specialist of the Volcano Monitoring and Eruption Prediction Division in Phivolcs. DNA samples from 4 of the accused in the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo match with the samples found in the shooter's vehicle and at the scene of the crime. To tell us more, here's our Justice reporter, Tech Torres Tupas, reporting live. Tech?
4 of the accused in the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo may have recanted their earlier testimonies, but DNA samples from them matched with the samples found in the shooter's vehicles and at the scene of the crime. At a press conference, Attorney Levito Beligod, counsel for the Degamo family, said blood samples from Rogelio Antipolo, John Louis Gonyon, Osmundo Rivero, and Winrich Isturiz matched the DNA samples found in the shooter's vehicle and at the Degamo compound where the killing took place. The National Bureau of Investigation was the one who conducted the DNA test, comparing the blood stains from the shooter's vehicle and at the Degamo compound with that of the accused. With the DNA result, Baligod is confident that despite recantation, they can still successfully prosecute the cases. The 4 suspects are among the 10 who earlier issued statements used by the law enforcers in their investigation. Their statements led to the arrest of Marvin Miranda, the alleged co-mastermind, and the identification of Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnulfo Teves Jr. as the alleged brains behind the killing. However, they eventually withdrew their affidavits, saying they were coerced and tortured by the police to admit participation in the slay. The DNA result was submitted to the panel of prosecutors during today's preliminary investigation. Neil?
Thanks, Tech. That's Tech Torres Tupas reporting live. Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III wants the Edsa-like traffic on the North Luzon Expressway fixed first before burdening motorists with any toll rate increase. Starting June 15, an additional 7 pesos to 98 pesos, depending on the type of vehicle and distance, will be imposed on motorists plying the NLEx. The Toll Regulatory Board recently approved the temporary increase. But according to Pimentel, the TRB and the NLEx Corporation should put this provisional toll hike on hold, citing what he dubs as, quote, worsening traffic conditions on the expressway. Furthermore, Pimentel says implementing a toll increase when Filipinos are already grappling with the effects of inflation would, quote, exacerbate their economic hardships. Citing NLEX's data, the senator notes that at least 280,000 vehicles are plying through the major expressway daily. Pimentel also calls on the TRB to prioritize the interests of the public and ensure that the toll rates remain fair and reasonable. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. approves the pilot launch of the food stamp program. Sofia Abrogar has the report.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has approved the pilot launch of the food stamp program that the Department of Social Welfare and Development is spearheading, Malacanang press briefer Daphne Osenia Paez announced on Tuesday. The food stamp pilot will run on grants totaling $3 million from the Asian Development Bank, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, and the French Development Agency, according to Welfare Secretary Rex Gatchalian. As the DSWD previously discussed, the pilot will run for a total of 6 months, servicing an initial 3,000 families in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, a local government unit in Caraga, and an unnamed isolated mountain or island municipality. Each eligible food-poor household will receive 3,000 pesos in food credits monthly under the DSWD stamp program. DSWD has previously reported that in order to assist its target of 1 million food-poor households, it needs a total budget of about 40 billion pesos. Besides the 1 million food-poor families set to benefit from the food stamp effort upon its full implementation, Marcos has also tasked the DSWD to include single parents and pregnant and lactating women among the program's beneficiaries. Gatchalian elaborated that Marcos wants to synchronize the government's various feeding and nutrition programs into a family of programs instead of working them in silos, all to combat stunting. Department of Health Secretary Ted Herbosa reported that according to the DOH's data, stunting in children below 2 years old is at 21.6% or 1 in 5 children, while stunting in kids under 5 years old is at 28.7%. Herbosa also said that he wants these rates down by half by the end of the Marcos Jr. administration in 2028. This is Sofia Abrogar, reporting for INQUIRER.net.
United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken expresses confidence that the U.S. and the Philippines will continue to collaboratively confront the global and regional challenges hounding the two nations. In his message on the 125th Philippine Independence Day, Blinken says that the ties between the U.S. and the Philippines have grown. He particularly cited the two countries' commitment to uphold international peace and stability and invest in the transition to clean energy, among others. Blinken says he is confident that the two countries will continue to collaboratively confront the most pressing regional and global challenges. Senator Francis Tolentino urges the Department of Health to consider allowing foreign doctors to practice in the country for a limited period. In his weekly radio program, Tolentino says there are registered doctors in foreign countries who want to practice in the Philippines. Tolentino reasons that this is not meant to compete but to allow a transfer of technology, noting that foreign doctors will only stay in the country for a brief period. The legislator asks newly appointed Health Secretary Teodoro Herbosa, the featured guest of his program, to review the current policy restricting foreign doctors' ability to work in the country. Tolentino argues that many medical specialists, including Filipinos practicing medicine overseas, want to help the country. The Medical Act of 1959 limits foreign doctors' practice of their profession in the country without a registration certificate. The Denver Nuggets win their first NBA championship in 47 seasons. This after the Nuggets defeat the Miami Heat 94-89 behind Serbian star Nikola Jokic's 28 points and 16 rebounds. The Nuggets went down by as many as 10 points in the first half, but pulled within 51-44 at halftime despite going 1 for 15 from three-point range, the worst ever NBA final shooting half from beyond the arc. Michael Porter Jr. added 16 points and 13 rebounds, while Jamal Murray added 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists for the Nuggets, finishing their best-of-7 duo with the Heat 4-1. K-pop boy group BTS celebrates their 10th anniversary. Hannah Mallorca reports.
June 13 marks the 10th anniversary of BTS, the South Korean supergroup widely known for bringing K-pop into mainstream culture. The group debuted on June 13, 2013 with the album Too Cool for School and the title track No More Dream. Despite covering several genres, BTS's lyrics revolve around coming of age, mental health, self-love, and social issues. Coming from humble beginnings, the group broke barriers to cement themselves as one of the leading forces of K-pop. Among their many accolades include 5 Grammy nominations, several Billboard Music Awards, American Music Awards, Golden Disc Awards, and Soul Music Awards, among many others. BTS is also known for advocating for progressive causes, including the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as their Love Myself anti-violence campaign with UNICEF. RM, J-Hope, and Jimin penned heartfelt messages for their fans on social media. The group is also releasing BTS Festa content until June 25, an annual tradition during their debut anniversary. South Korea also paid tribute to the group through a commemorative stamp series and lighting up its landmarks in purple, which is known as the group's official color. The group consists of RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. This is Hannah Mallorca of INQUIRER.net Entertainment.
Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Irvin Santiago ng Bandera. Irvin?
Hi Neil at sa lahat ng mga kabandera natin all over the universe. Ito na nga ang latest Bandera Chika. Sa nalalapit na pagdiriwang ng Father's Day sa darating na linggo, iisa lang ang hiling ng kapuso actress at TV host na si Rabia Mateo. At yan ay ang makita na sana niya ang kanyang ama. Hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa rin nawawalan ng pag-asa ang dalaga na isang araw ay magkikita at makakaharap din niya ang kanyang tatay na Indian American na iniwan nga raw sila ng kanyang ina noong 5 taong gulang pa lamang siya. Inamin ni Rabia na isa sa mga dahilan ng pagsalin niya sa Miss Universe Philippines noong 2020 ay para magkaroon ng pagkakataon na mahanap ang ama. Umaasa kasi siya na kapag lumaban sa Miss Universe ay mas mapapadali ang paghahanap niya rito. Ngunit makalipas ang 3 taon, bigo pa rin siya sa kanyang misyon. Pero nararamdaman ni Rabia na darating pa rin ang araw na magkikita sila. Ang plano ng dalaga baka raw pumunta uli siya sa Amerika sa darating na November kasama ang boyfriend na si Jeric Gonzalez para muling ipagpatuloy ang kanyang misyon na mahanap ang kanyang tatay. Mariin din niyang sinabi na wala siyang nararamdamang galit sa ama kahit na iniwan at pinabayaan sila. Sa katunayan, ito pa nga ang naging inspirasyon niya para magtagumpay sa buhay.
Sa US po siya, last state niya was Chicago.
Kailan mo siya, nakalimutan ko lang never mo siya nakita?
He spent with us up until 5 years old ako and then he left.
After nun, not once na nakita mo siya. Communication, sulat, wala?
Wala po talaga. I tried to look for him. Even yung mga, kasing last name niya na taga Chicago, mini-message ko. Pero sad ending talaga palagi. Like, they don't know my dad. Gusto ko maglaan sana ng at least 1 month to be there and to look for him. Kung papayagan ng schedule, pinag-usapan namin ni Jeric, probably mga during my birthday, November, kung papayagan ng management, gusto ko pumunta sa US.
At yan ang bandera chika natin today. Thanks, Neil!
Maraming salamat, Irvin. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.